Hello and welcome to the selfgrowth.com show. My name is David Riklan and I'm the founder of selfgrowth.com. Today's show is about a powerful technique called EFT or tapping. Today I'm excited to interview Carol Look, an intuitive energy healer and EFT master. In addition to being a traditional psychotherapist and abundance coach, she's an author, she's a speaker, coach, and creator of something called the Yes Code. We'll get into that in a little bit, which is her unique coaching style that will help you clear your fears, find your yes, and make decisions that are right for you. Carol, welcome today.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me on. Great to see you.
You're welcome. We've known each other a long time. I know you've been involved in EFT and tapping for a long, long time. I want to jump right in with the content. So what exactly is EFT or tapping, and are these terms interchangeable?
The terms are interchangeable. EFT was the more formal description, emotional freedom techniques, but now everyone's just calling it tapping. So what we're literally doing is tapping on acupuncture points while we're thinking about a stressful situation. And what it does is it calms down the fight or flight response in our brain. So whether you have cravings or whether you're afraid to fly or whether you're having a fight with a partner, your fight or flight response goes on and you get uptight and you get tense and you mobilize your energy to really, try to keep yourself safe. And what's happening, I'm sure you've heard this phrase, our bodies were designed for a couple of sprints here and there, but we're living in a marathon.
Right.
We are all exhausted and our fight or flight is turned on all the time. So stress is just nonstop. So what the tapping does is calms this down depending on what topic you're focused on. So I've been doing this for, 20 years, 22 years maybe, out of my career of being a psychotherapist for 25 years. And it's been a complete life changer for me as well as for my clients and my family. And so I keep doing it. I say to people, if I find another tool that gets as big of a bang for the buck, I'll let you know. But right now, still getting yourself calmed down in any situation that you're confronting really helps you think clearly, approach it, be more resourceful. So business and personal, it's fabulous. So we're tapping on meridian acupuncture points, accessing the electrical system that way, and calming you down.
All right, we're going to step through it in a little bit. I'm going to ask you to show us exactly how this works and go real time with this. But before you do, you mentioned a couple of areas that people use EFT or tapping for. What are some of the big challenges that people would use EFT? You mentioned a couple already. What are some other areas that people would use EFT or tapping? What kind of challenges?
So anxiety, fear, and stress, that's the big umbrella that we're all challenged by. So whether you have that at work with your boss or whether you have that at home with your family or the kids or the dog, or maybe you use sugar when you're stressed out. Maybe you pick a fight with someone when you're stressed out. I have a specialty in working with sabotage and procrastination because people are chronically blaming themselves for being a procrastinator and they're not getting to the real reason and what's really going on. So fear of failure, fear of success, smoking, eating, drinking, all of those. And then the overall sense of well-being in life. Everyone is always interested in the health issues, and that's wonderful, but you can drink all the green smoothies in the world you want. And if you don't deal with the emotional conflicts and emotional challenges that you've had over the years, it doesn't matter what you do for your health, right? It's great to do good things for your health, but you must take care of this emotional burden that we're all carrying.
Well, it's interesting. The three things they just mentioned: anxiety, fear, and stress. So everybody deals with stress, everybody. And there's more and more of it. And even the cell phone world that we live in creates additional anxiety and stress. So, it's such a part of our lives right now. It's hard to escape on virtually every level. So it shows the power of where EFT comes in. So at this point, it's clear that this is something that could help virtually everybody. I want you to step us through it and kind of walk us through a mini session so we get a feeling for what EFT is, and I'll follow along with you, and let's jump right in over here to give people a flavor of it.
Awesome. I want to say one thing. The first thing 20 years ago that I cleared on myself was insomnia. Because insomnia, if you take care of the physical issues, hot, cold, drinking too much water, whatever, it's all about anxiety and keeping you up at night. That's the first thing I cleared. Can you imagine the life-changing response I had to that? So whether it keeps you up at night, whether it causes trouble in your relationships, whether you're don't feel centered and stabilized in your life, that's what stress is doing. So what we could do, David, is take something, we could take a worry. So people tuning in could say, what am I worried about? Oh, I'm thinking of this thing at work or at home or in a relationship. And what we do is we measure 0 to 10. When you tune into it, we open the file, right? We can't edit the file until we open it. So when you tune into it, 0 to 10, how upset are you? How stressed out do you feel? Because stress is all about perception. You and I are not stressed out by the same things just because of our histories and our background. So tune in. What are you worried about? What's on your mind? What's draining that energy from you? And see if you can get a measurement. Yep, when I tune in, I'm 6 or a 7, 10 is the highest. So we focus there first. And then we do this funny tapping thing on the side of our hand here.
Okay.
We call it the karate chop point. Everybody's calling it the side of the hand. And we say a statement that reduces our resistance. We're all trying to be better, and we're not just sitting with and embracing our troubling emotions. And that's what we need to do. So what we say here, it sounds a little funny to people, but what we say here is, even though I'm worried about this issue, so you can be my echo.
Okay, so I'll do it. Even though I'm worried about this issue,
I accept who I am and how I feel.
I accept who I am and how I feel.
Even though I'm worried about this issue,
even though I'm worried about this issue,
and it's causing me a lot of stress,
and it's causing me a lot of stress,
I deeply and completely accept myself anyway.
I deeply accept myself anyway. Deeply and completely accept myself anyway.
So they've been doing that in the tapping field for 30 years. And what it does is just starts you out saying, you are allowed to have your emotions. The validation is critical. Of course, all the research studies have come back now. Yes, the tapping on acupuncture points is producing dramatic results, but just validating your feelings is a big deal as well. So we start there 2 or 3 times. Even though I have this problem, I accept myself anyway. Then I take 2 fingers of my dominant hand, I'm right-handed.
Yep.
And you start tapping on this series of points, which are easy to access for everybody watching. First point is called the eyebrow point. It's right at the beginning of the hair of either eyebrow. Just tap right there. And we tap long enough to say, to repeat the problem. I'm worried about this issue.
I'm worried about this issue.
The next point is on the side of the eye. Now you can do left or right on your face.
Right.
Right on the bone there. And you just say, I'm really worried about this issue.
I'm really worried about this issue.
And make sure you're thinking about that issue that you brought up. Under the eye, on the bone right here, I'm really worried about this issue.
I'm really worried about this issue.
Next point, very important acupuncture point here. I'm worried about this issue. No wonder I'm so stressed out.
I'm worried about this issue. No wonder I'm so stressed out.
Next point, very important here in the chin. I'm worried about this issue. No wonder I'm exhausted.
I'm worried about this issue. No wonder I'm exhausted.
Next point, we call it the collarbone point. It's right below one of those 2 knobs there. You could just put your whole hand there.
Right.
I'm really expending energy worrying about this issue.
I'm really expending energy worrying about this issue.
No wonder I'm so tired.
No wonder I'm so tired.
Next point, under the armpit, it's about 4 inches below, right there in the ribs. These are all important acupuncture points on meridians. I'm worried about this issue and I'm draining my energy.
I'm worried about this issue and I'm draining my energy.
And then the final point is on the top of the head, very important up there, right? Just go around kind of in a circle where I'm going. Okay. I'm worried about this issue and it's draining my energy.
I'm worried about this issue and it's draining my energy.
Then you take a deep breath. And you would go back to the same issue and measure again. Now, the problem is some people say when the number goes down, they start thinking of something else. You want to focus on the issue that you originally brought up to tap on so you can measure and track it. That's why we do the numbers, just for tracking purposes. So when we work with pain relief, we track it also. How is the migraine headache? Where is it moving? And with pain, since I'm not a medical doctor, I need to go at it from the emotional issues. So we've had tremendous responses to pain relief.
What's interesting, a few things strike me. So I get, acupuncture, acupressure has been around a long time, and people have been using it and demonstrating the value of it. This is almost bringing in psychology, behavior modification in combination with it. And it's the combination, I think, that has the power that really impacts you, not one or the other, but really the combination.
Well, what we discovered over years and years of research is that trauma is lodged in the body. So just going to talk to someone about a car accident doesn't do enough, because what's happened with your physiology and your brain response is it gets lodged inside. So now we have a technique where we're actually tapping on the electrical impulses, the acupuncture meridians, they carry, the circuitry carries the energy, and we're talking and we're validating our concerns or our stress. So it's a beautiful, perfect storm of working with mind, body, and spirit. That's been my experience for 20 years.
All right. So for anybody watching, we did that relatively quickly. I'm going to make a couple of suggestions, and I have a few questions for you. So one is, if you want to listen back, if you listen to it live, record it, go through it, just a few minutes, and it will give you a sense. So one of the things that I noticed in terms of me is you definitely feel some release. You feel a release of stress. I'm not sure why and the psychology behind it. And it could be a combination of the physical part, the mental part, the distracting part. But doing this technique, I personally, I can feel some of it. I feel a release in terms of the tension or the stress and anxiety that I was feeling on that particular issue. So I'd recommend that people do that. But I know also that EFT and tapping carries a lot of other techniques. There's a lot more. This isn't everything that has to do. We haven't mastered, if you've gone through this, you haven't mastered tapping. There's a lot more to know. And we're going to get into a few other things, but just quickly, can you share for people to find out more about EFT and tapping? I know you've shared a lot. Can you just share your website and what's the best approach if they want to find out, all right, what next?
Sure. So I'm at carollook.com, and I've got videos and all sorts of things to help you learn how to do it. And you can write me if you want some free directions of how to do it in a video. And the most important point is to be focused and to be clear, right? So what happens is people, oh, I don't know what to work on. Choose what to work on and get focused and get tapping, right? And then the complication or the complexity comes after you've been doing it for a long time. We did pretty much the same words every time, and that's fine. Beginners have wonderful results. I want to say a quick story. A friend of mine was doing tapping. She just learned it, and she was on the top of a ski mountain, and she got partway down and she had a little bit of a panic attack, and she took off her gloves and she tapped. 5 minutes later, she went down the mountain. She said everyone around her was like, what are you doing? Doesn't matter. She had an actual panic attack in her body, felt all those reactions, and was able to get down because the tapping calmed her down. Now, everybody listening, many people maybe aren't skiers, but imagine you've got a work meeting with your boss and you are flipping, you're really scared. Imagine you've got some confrontation in your family, or maybe you're afraid to shine, afraid to be successful. That's what we can use it on.
All right, very powerful. Carol Look, it's 2 L's in the middle of the carollook.com, very easy name. And search for her. There's a lot of material she has. She steps you through steps. She steps you through the meridian points. There's a lot of good information to learn. All right, so I know that EFT and tapping's a piece of what you do. And you've also created a process called the Yes Code, which is a powerful, all-encompassing process. Can you explain what this is and how it works?
Sure. This, again, came out of years of my psychotherapy practice and my tapping practice, watching myself and watching what other people go through. And it's just my coaching process. So the Yes Code is 3 primary steps. Clarify your vision. You've got to be clear about what you want. You know, we're all watching summits and telesummits and webinars and buying programs, and we're not doing what we want. We've become disconnected from what we're really going for. So I help people with the clarity. And I found out that all these people are afraid to be clear. Something about reaching clarity seems a little threatening. What happens when you feel threatened? Whoop, there goes your fight or flight response. Right? So that's the first step. Then I identify and help them clear and release all sabotage behavior. There's not a single person watching who has not procrastinated, rebelled, right? Done one of those classic sabotage behaviors. So once we get rid of that, we can get underneath it and say, why are you protecting yourself with procrastination? Well, I'm not, but yes, you are. Otherwise, you would have put your website out. Oh, I'm afraid to be judged. So all the sabotage stuff gets taken care of there. And then find your next yes. How do you really land on what's right for you with your intuition, with your head, your heart, and your gut? What's the best next step for you personally, professionally, in your health, with your body, with your relationships, everything. So that's just, it's my coaching program that I lead people through, either in a program or individually.
Okay, sounds good. It's called the Yes Code. And I know you have a few other things going on. You're going to be live at an event. Can you tell us a little bit more about the programs and overall what you do?
So the event is in Massachusetts at Kripalu, and it's called Hai Chi. And Chi is the Chinese word for energy. And it's how do you get your energy back? We are like a leaky bucket. We are springing leaks everywhere, draining our energy.
Sure.
You've got to work on that emotional content. What's worrying you right now, or what you're holding on to from a decade ago? We all, right? So I'm helping people really get centered, plug those holes, use EFT to release the guilt, the betrayal, the hurt, the frustration. So that's up at Kripalu Kripalu Institute, April 5, 6, 7. I run a coaching program, and I run some individual VIP coaching options. And then I've trained a lot of people, so I make a lot of referrals. But it's really, even if you just have a couple of sessions with a professional who's got an objective set of eyes and ears, that would be helpful. And then I have a lot of downloadable products that I've created over the years.
Okay. Sounds good. A lot of really good information today. I appreciate this introduction also to EFT and tapping for everybody. And I just want you to give out the website one more time. If people want additional information and services you provide, what's the best place to go, and where should they look on your site?
carollook.com. There's a workshop section if you want to see me live. There are programs in the store. There are downloadable programs, and then there are coaching options to work with me or to work with my team.
All right. Sounds good. Any final suggestions, recommendations, last words?
Don't give up. Even if you think this looks funny, or it's new to you, or you tried it once. I had a client say, that was introduced to me 10 years ago and I didn't take it seriously. And now I'm doing it. And she said, my life has completely changed. So don't discount what stress is doing to you, what a simple looking technique can do as far as rewiring your brain in response to fear, worry, and stress.
All right. Thank you very much, Carol. I want to thank all our listeners. Thank you for being here. Any comments? Comment below. Any questions? Appreciate it. Looking forward to helping everybody. And thanks for being part of selfgrowth.com.
Thanks.
Talk to you soon.